Hey, welcome to the after show with the Mad Dog and Cole, the beer Farrell.
Snowmobiles or just cold jet skis?
I decided to fly through the air and live in the sunlight and enjoy life as much as I could, and that's just what I'm doing.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait.
Man, oh man, thank you, Mr. Evil Knievel, for those inspiring words. Flying through the air, living in the sunlight, and enjoying life. Man, we are so lucky. We don't got to fly through the air to live in the sunlight and enjoy life. But I was re-listening to our Dustin Jones episode. I think was 35, and it's like, um, embrace your fly through the air moments.
I like that.
Yeah, it was wise words from the battle axe.
Yeah, because you don't get those every day, but when you get them, you remember them.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And we're so blessed. And we are so blessed to have our first responders and our American service people looking out for us all the time. Cole, don't you agree?
Couldn't agree more. We couldn't do this podcast without the freedoms that they grant us. Could not be more grateful for all the families of the KIA, the POWs, all of the active and retired military families, and of course, our first responders. So once again, thank you here from MAddOG'S After Show. So grateful to have these American heroes behind us.
Yeah, and speaking of people behind us, man, where would we be without our Kicker Performance audio partner? So rad, such a great group. Um, I'm working on a new project for my boat, which will reveal at some point this early spring, up and coming with Kicker. And I may have another Kicker project coming up also. But for your Kicker project, look them up, kicker.com, or on Instagram at Kicker Audio for all your 12-volt and personal audio needs. Keep in mind, they just released a completely wireless earbud set, completely wireless, at a very reasonable cost that is ultra impressive. Check it out on their website, kicker.com. Of course, Bomber Safety Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Eyewear. Man, I wear my bombers everywhere. I wear them on the podcast. I wear them on the airplane. Anywhere I go. Sometimes I wear them in Vegas airport just because I don't want people to look at me. Um, I wear them when I sit down because I fly Southwest and people see a guy in mirror, ice blue mirror boogie bombs and are like, yeah, I don't want to sit by him. Um, so yeah, over 40 styles of frames. I can't even tell you how many styles of lens combinations to go with those frames. And they float.
Most importantly,
Bomb,
they float.
absolutely importantly. BomberEyewear.com or Bomber Eyewear on Instagram. Of course, the Premix podcast, our man Cole sharing his passion for all things desert racing through the lens of a camera, and also available. Get out there and MC or announce your off-road, on-road, slot car, or other event. Slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the little at symbol. ThePremixPodcast.
Nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, Kelsey Morrell Film, man, she has been busting butt. Um, we've had to re-edit some of our YouTube and YouTube podcast videos, and she has gotten through all those and is moving forward on to more episodes. She has a way to go to get all the way caught up, but man, she is hammering them out. If you need video production, video editing, photos, whatever you need, find her on Instagram at Kelsey Morel Film. Of course, Hey Keeks Marketing, working on all of our social media uh, templates, artwork, logos. If you need help with your website, you need help with your social media, you feeling overwhelmed, yell, Hey Keeks, or look her up on the web, heykeeks.com, or on Instagram at Hey Keeks Marketing. Dude, I just want to get straight to it, man. I was in where the heck was I?
Grand Island, Nebraska.
Nebraska. Yeah. It was cold, cold, cold. And we'll
Cold
get
seemed
into
like an
that in a
understatement.
minute. Yeah, for sure, dude. We'll get into that in a minute, but I want to jump straight to the pro night, the pro racing. Uh, Brees took the win in his heat. Peters took the win in his heat. Bitterman took the win in his heat. And I can't remember who took the fourth heat. But when the gates flopped for the first pro main, good Lord, the action was hot, was on fire. It was incredible. Um, Brees got out to an early jump and did a great job on the whole shot. Um, and Kyle Peters, Kyle Bitterman both got buried kind of a little bit further back, as well as Isaiah Clark, just kind of in a big cluster in the first corner. Um, they worked their way through. Bitterman got out second, and Peters was quite a way, like fourth or fifth or sixth. Um, Clark was third, and I believe, anyways, and Peters started twisting the little right side twisty thing and just got in the flow, man. He looked strong. Um, he got up all the way up to Bitterman, and they had an amazing battle going. I mean, they're both so fast, and I think Peters was going like 3-3-3 through the whoops, and Bitterman was blitzing them, and they were coming out almost identical. Like you wouldn't expect that those two different styles would have the same end result, you
Yeah,
know?
normally you start jumping when they're too cupped out or too broke down to blitz. But if they can build a track where you can literally run the same section differently and it's the same outcome, that's very impressive.
Yeah, VMAC Tracks and the crew did a good job. The whoops again were big, like Supercross Pro big or bigger. Um, most of the pros were struggling with the whoops. Uh, Bitterman has found a way through the whoops this year, um, and so is Clark. Really, uh, man, they got down to the wire. Bitterman went or Peters got down inside Bitterman. There was a long whoop section into a 180 left into the rhythm. Um, Bitterman took the outside line, which had been fast for him. Peters took the inside line, which had been fast for him. They came into the rhythm section exactly together, but with a little bit of space. And Bitterman slid the back tire. The back tire kind of track had some slippery spots, and back tire spit out a little bit on him as they were going up the first the ramp on the first rhythm section, and it kind of kicked him over sideways. And if you've seen the replays, and folks, you can find those. I believe on Arenacross USA uh, Instagram, Bitterman at one point was actually leaning against Peters, like had his shoulder against Peters, trying to stay up.
Wow.
And when they when they landed, Peters carried on, and Bitterman went off and went literally face first into the next ramp. Um, got up. That was the last lap, by the way. So
Oh, geez.
it was the last lap push for second place, basically. Um, Bitterman is an animal, dude. He got up, got on the bike. One bike got past him, I think, that was actually ahead of him, and then laid it down in the final corner to the finish jump, um, or slid it out. And Bitterman got up after knocking his visor off and the whole bit, jumped on the bike, and still pulled out a third place finish.
And now I'm looking at the results right now. First in his heat, still got a freaking third in main number one.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen the video of him doing the splat.
I watched it. It's pretty painful to watch, but I watched it.
It was gnarly. His face was all messed up, and um, he had helmet rash all around his face. Thank God he was wearing good equipment, because he's a great guy. They did lasting impressions concrete. Ashley Electric, Storm Lake Honda team pulled him from Pro Main 2 due to concussion protocol. I believe he did end up going to get checked out just to make sure he was okay. I expect him to be back on the bike here in Oklahoma this weekend. I did talk to him Saturday. He was doing much better and feeling much better. He's still pretty sore, but yeah, holy cow! And Isaiah Clark pulled up the number 4 spot. They went to main 2. Of course, no Bitterman. Um, Brees and Peters got out, if I remember right, from the back row. Peters worked his way through the traffic a little better than Brees, and then just said goodbye. And there was a couple of times where it looked like Brees was going to make a hard push to reel him in. Um, but I don't know that anybody is as conditioned for this as Kyle Peters.
Dude's an animal. I know he works down, I think, Club MX in South Carolina, but I know he's
Yeah,
got a huge training program around him.
yeah. The whole Phoenix Honda team has an incredible program, and Kyle works hard. Um, and if he holds, I believe he currently holds the points lead, and if he holds it out through the end of the year, um, it'll be a fifth championship for him, which I know he really wants. Um, but I also know he's not. I mean, he races looking at the big picture, but he's not hung up on getting that fifth championship this year. And
Like he's like it's not letting him get distracted. Is that what you're saying?
right, yeah, and he's not like you know. I've had conversations with his bike chief, and he has told me that he said even if he gets it, um, like he's probably not going to retire. He's having fun, and he just wants to keep racing arena cross. He loves racing arena cross. So
He's making money.
yeah, he's doing very well at it. But I was fortunate enough on Pro Am Day uh, to first speed recovery, Bitterman, KB, thinking of you, bro. I hope to see you tomorrow or Friday at the races here in Guthrie. Um, man, it was it was tough to see him go down, but being able to talk to him Saturday, he actually decided to stay Saturday and run the pro side of the pro am, um, because they were offering a little extra incentive, because the rider count was down a little bit, and I'll get into that after this. But then with splatting pro main one, uh, no bueno. He wasn't going to ride Saturday. So, but it was good to see him hanging out and talking and, getting around okay and everything. That was a hard, hard splat. So, um, but I did have a chance to talk to Isaiah Clark, and really spend some time with him. And I actually got a little clip from him that I think we'll go for right now. What do you
Boots on
think?
the ground. Let's do it.
Hey man, more good stuff from the after show with Mad Dog. We got Isaiah Clark himself here. Man, we've been talking about you on the show. You've been pretty racy this year. It looks like the lasting impressions actually electric Honda team has fit you well.
Yeah, I've been super stoked and honored to be a part of the Lasting Impressions team. Like everyone around the pits are super cool. They make racing fun. I really enjoy coming to the races every weekend. I've been getting better and better, and I'm just searching for that win.
Yeah, I know that you're recovering from, I think, shoulder or something last year.
A little bit of an arm injury.
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
Okay. But you look like you're just getting stronger and faster every weekend, more and more comfortable.
Yeah, I'm starting to get over my injury. I'm getting on the back side of it. It gets a little weak towards the end of the night. Usually second main, I'm not there. But last night I went 4-4, and it's not what I wanted, but I can't really complain about that.
No, and really, here, man, I don't think either night, last night or the pro am tonight, is anything we want. It's like minus 40 with the wind chill here.
Yeah, this cold weather, it's something gnarly. I'm from Iowa, and I'm not about this.
Yeah, it's crazy. But you had a good run last night, solid showing. And dude, really happy to see you on there on Jason's team and putting up the speed, running clean. It's just going to go up from here, bud.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited to keep building through the season. Me and getting more comfortable with the team each round, and we're starting to really click together and find what works for us. So I think it's just going to keep getting better as the season goes on.
Yeah, super rad. Isaiah Clark, the man, number 4. He is. Where can they find you? Instagram
I'm a big Instagram guy. It's just Isaiah Clark.
with a Z.
Yes, with a Z.
All right. Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you.
All right, trash can talk until it brings your volume up.
Blah 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 blah. Beep beep. Beep 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 beep.
Keep going, keep going.
Really?
Yep,
That
keep
long?
going. Yep.
What the? Really?
Yeah, don't screw with it. Just keep talking.
Wow. I'm not touching anything. I just turned it off.
A little
But
more,
yeah,
a little
bud.
more.
Okay.
There it is. Now you're back.
All right. Are we back?
Yep.
He's such a nice kid, man.
Seems like it.
And yeah, and he's really driven. I'm jealous of his hair for sure. Um, and I really think this is going to be a breakout year for him. Uh, I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen him on the podium, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing him on the podium every weekend.
Yeah, I feel like Slipknot should get behind him being an Iowa guy. Maybe give him that push.
Yeah, maybe we can call our friend BC and tell him to jump in behind,
He knows
have
some
his
people who
buddies.
knows some people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. He knows, BC knows everybody. What's up, BC? So,
But good interview
yeah,
with
man.
Isaiah. Yeah, like I said, nice kid, cool hair,
Yeah.
cool spelled name.
Yeah, and he's fast, and I really think that as they continue to meld together, team and rider, that they're just going to get faster, and that may put a tiny bit of a spark plug under Bitterman too. to ride even faster.
Well, yeah, because it's been the Peters and Bitterman show as of late, so which has
Right.
been not complaining. It's been incredible racing, but to have a third contender, I'm not going to complain.
Well, I'm really a fourth with Ryan Brees, you know?
Oh, yeah, talk about he's kind of a ringer, kind of
Yeah.
mixing things up. So,
Yep, for sure. So yeah, man, it was great racing. On to the weather. It sucked.
it looked really bad, and it actually looked worse as your weekend went on. Every time you sent a Snapchat, it was like, "Oh, this is getting apocalyptic. This is not good."
Yeah, it just got colder and colder and colder, man. Um, and we had, I think they said they got 8 or 10 inches of snow Thursday night. I arrived Wednesday. It was like 40 degrees, 38 degrees. And this time, there was no all-wheel drive Denver Edition rental car. It was a brand new Kia Soul for
You've done,
reals.
but you've now correct me. Have you been trying to get a Kia Soul or something similar, or do you keep getting Kia Souls? I know one of them's
No,
correct.
I've been trying because that's the category where my membership gets me the biggest discount.
There you go.
Um, but they kept upgrading me. Well, they didn't this week.
So you finally got the hamster car.
Yeah, yeah, and of course I got it, and when the winds are 20 plus miles an hour with intermittent gusts over 40, um, at 80 miles an hour, that little hamster car only pulled like 24 miles to the gallon on the 2.5 hour drive to Grand Island from Omaha.
With the heater blasting,
And yeah,
your
and,
tunes
and
cranked.
my daughter has one. And I know they consistently get over 30. So um, it was working. It was actually an 8 speed transmission, and I kept having to put it in manual and shift it into seventh
Oh, thank
because it wanted to run at like 3,000 RPM in fit or six.
yeah, thank God I didn't have the CVT. I'm not a fan of those in full size cars.
No,
But
no,
I know that Kia
I,
Soul's out there, so I'm glad you didn't get it.
yeah, no, I did not indeed. It wasn't the sport mode like my daughter's, but it got me there. It got me back. We had all that snow Thursday night with really high winds, 25 sustained with gusts to 40. Um, so there's just snow drifts, snow banks everywhere. The of course Nebraska, they're kind of used to it, so they got some of the roads cleared. I uh, I was blessed enough to get Mr. West Kane, our buddy Mr. West Kane. Um, I was his wheelman for most of the weekend.
Oh yeah? Did he fit?
Yeah, yeah, barely,
Yeah.
but yeah, he fit, and we may or may not have had some e-brake fun
I was
in
going
the
to ask
parking
that did
lots.
it have a not not for rental car purposes, but did it have a handbrake?
It does have a handbrake.
Ooh.
Um, it's funny because I went to pull. I've got literally probably well over 1 million miles of driving in the snow. Um, and so it's not really, you just accept it and move, right? Um, but loaded Wes up. We're having to warm the car up for like half an hour to get it for a 1 mile drive. Um, but went to leave the hotel and it was a slight uphill grade and I made it up to the top, but I had to stop because there was traffic and I went to go and like I mashed it and the thing's like, ugh. And so I back and forth it a few times and I'm like, what is wrong with this thing? And then I realize the traction control light is flashing. And I'm like, oh,
So
dummy.
it's fighting itself.
Yeah. So I turned the traction control off so I could spin the tires up. Never had another problem all weekend getting around. You just have to make sure, like we pulled into the Casey's Quick Stop, which is a big convenience store things back there. And um, as I came off the road, it's like, oh, they got some pretty good size area of loose snow right at the edge of the road. So I just hit it speed, and then e-braked it into a spot and ran in and got some coffee and donuts for the team and ran out and down to the arena and e-braked it into the arena and e-braked it almost all the way around the arena and e-braked it into my parking spot, which thank you very much, Mr. Bill, Security Bill. Thank you so much for reserving a spot for the old Mad Dog and Mr. Kane. Um, but yeah, dude, by Saturday, it was minus teens as a high. But with the wind chill, it was minus 36 to below minus 40 on the gusts.
That's like a
Um,
safety issue for being outside any bit of time.
yeah, definitely, dude. It was brutal. Um, I was not a happy camper. I was not prepared for it. Um, I'm a Havasu boy now, and I don't own thermals. Well, I do now. Let's say I do now. Coming to Stillwater
I was going to say,
this
obviously, you
week.
got a lot of heritage in Alaska and Canada, but now I recognize you as a Havasu guy, and now you got Wes Kane, who's born and raised Florida guy, and two of you
Yeah,
in negative bajillion weather in a Kia Soul.
yeah. He it was funny because he has a Snapchat group that has like um Michael Waltrip, of course, Rob Van Winkle, uh, um, Kurt Busch, and so as he's walking out that first morning, he's like, you know, talking to his Snapchat, and he's like, "Look, Mad Dog even cleared me a walking path. He's going to
Ah,
be my wheelman this weekend." And
I can hear it in his
so
voice.
yeah, so then they were all commenting as we were driving to the arena and as we were driving to Casey's and then the arena, and he was reading me all their comments. It was pretty funny. So
That's rad.
um yeah, so there may have been some words in there I won't repeat, but it was pretty cool. Um
But you think about it, like a lot of new cars, they're trying to make them less, less, how do I word this? Less driver intuitive. So
yes.
what if you couldn't turn the traction control off? You'd have been screwed.
Yeah, I'd eventually got out, but man, you just basically just have to hit everything at speed.
I mean, it sounds
And
fun. It
that's,
sounds fun, but stressful.
well, yeah, especially if you're going out onto a main, 2 lane, 4 lane highway that runs right through the middle of town. People are driving 45 miles an hour in the snow and ice, which is fine. I didn't have any problem driving that fast. It's just you had to blast through the berm to get out to the road. And I didn't feel comfortable just freeballing it and going for the road at wide open,
Well,
because
yeah,
you
and like,
couldn't see.
well, that's the scary part too. But I wonder how. I'm just fascinated by this topic because I've driven in snow like twice in my life. But like, I'd be so worried about like blasting the front bumper off coming over the banks and then onto the main highway or whatever, packing the radiator full of snow. I mean, just it just seems like when you got to off road to be on the road, you can run into some issues.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that analogy. Off road to be on the road. That's brilliant. You should trademark that. Um,
Got to trademark everything these days.
yeah, right. Um, well, if you'd have been along for the ride with me in the Kia, you'd have been having fun. You wouldn't have been thinking about the front bumper or anything else.
That'd
So
have been some good ballast weight for you. We would have made some good ETs.
yeah, but yeah, nah, it was just crazy, dude. It was so cold, and unfortunately, that does affect attendance. Um, Attendance was about 50% or maybe a
Mm.
little less than what are used to, but it didn't. Obviously, the racing was hot, so it was a good show. Um, we packed her up Saturday night after the show. Shout out to all you Grand Island Nebraskans that came out to the show, and a special thank you to all those ones that took the time to stop by the booth on the way out and just thank us for being there. And basically, so many people stopped by and like pled the case to come back,
Wow.
that weather wasn't normal, and normally the place would be packed if the weather was its typical winter weather. And just very thankful for us to be there, which I thought was, you just don't get that in most places.
No, not at all. I don't know. It's kind of hitting me in the feels, but it's rare that people are so appreciative of things, especially when they're paying their own money for it.
Yeah.
So that's huge. I hope that you guys can go back there next year just for those people, and I hope that the weather's better and gets a bigger turnout. But yeah, that's a hard dichotomy because the weather's so bad that you have nothing to do and you want to go out and do something, but the weather's also so bad that you don't want to leave the house.
Yeah.
So kudos to all those people for going to the races when there's a lot of trials and tribulations to get through to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I felt like it's important to give them a special shout out. It's not often you see places, that was our first time there.
Cool.
And it's not very often you go to a place, especially for a first time, where the fans are so truly humbly gracious.
Yeah.
And it really humbles you and makes you feel blessed to be a part of, what I'm a part of as far as the Kicker AMA Arenacross Championship Series. So, and makes me feel blessed to be associated with Kicker and be able to represent them on these things. You know, and for those of you who think that it's such a cool job that I have and all the cool stuff I get to do, um, think about a pair of Vans and two pairs of socks when it's minus 40 with the wind chill. Um, Literally, the Saturday afternoon break while when they finished track prep and stuff, I went out and sat in the key and took my shoes off and put them on the dash vents.
Yeah, that's got to do what you got to do to survive. Bear
Yeah,
Grylls.
the soles of my shoes were literally frozen stiff.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, my right foot's a little cranky when it gets cold, uh, due to all those surgeries. And maybe we'll cover that someday, but not
And
tonight.
now new injuries. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. And new injuries. I might cover that. All right. Since you brought it up. All right. So, yesterday, as I'm packing, I happen to be super hyperactive in case you may not have noticed. And I wasn't paying attention, very good spatial awareness, and caught my baby toe on one of the feet for my bed, um, and dislocated my right baby toe, which happens to be my fused foot, which we'll go into all that reason someday. Um, but dislocated my right baby toe, um, which was quite painful, and odd because I have these little giant cashew shaped baby toes, right? And so to see it not in line with the other toes, but sticking out to the right was a little weird at first. And I'm like, oh, I know what happened there, and just grabbed it and pushed it back over into place. I was smart enough to not try from the tip, but actually roll your hand up from the ball of your foot to push it over and get it back into place. But in trucking it through the airport today, I was sure feeling it.
Going from B gate to C gate or C gate to B gate.
Yeah, TSA to B gates.
Rough. Oh, that's right. Yeah, rough. Oof.
Yeah.
And talk about an uncool injury.
Right?
It's like, hey, you're not walking too good. You're like, yeah, I dislocated my pinky toe. Everybody's like, oh, Cry me a river.
Oh, too bad.
Like, no,
Poor bit.
it really hurts.
Yeah, it actually does.
Yeah.
Um, Not as bad as it did yesterday, so I think I'm on the mend already. Um, all that being said, Grand Island, Nebraska, um, your weather sucks. The racing was great. I like your arena. I wouldn't mind going back if the weather was better. I did suggest to Robbie, the owner of the AMA Arenacross Championships, that he had made an error in Grand Island, Nebraska, not Bahamas.
Yeah.
And he tended to agree. So maybe we'll get one warm race next year.
That'd be cool. Go to like all your normal spots, go to Reno, go to Oregon, and then just have one round in the Florida Keys.
Yeah. Well, we did that in 21. We started in a very frozen uh, Jacksonville, Mississippi, I believe, and and went to Tampa
Oh,
for one of the rounds and raced arena cross outdoors in Tampa. Um,
dude, I love outdoor arena cross. There's like one
it was
round that
crazy.
vividly sticks out to me. It was probably 2015 or 16, but they got some random venue in Northern California. And it was actually like a horse show venue and it poured rain. So you had the guys trying to do these massive doubles in the rain and it looks so different for arena cross. So
Oh yeah,
I'm a fan of variety, just throwing it out there if Robbie's listening.
yeah, for sure. So, um, yeah, man. So that was it. Other than the because of weather conditions in other areas, my direct flight to Vegas at noon got canceled. Um, and I managed to be able to find a direct flight at 6:45 p.m. out of Omaha, which was delayed, but I did make it home. And then, fortunately, the rip down the desert, I'm pretty accustomed to. So doing it in the dark, not my favorite, but not a big challenge. And let's say on a Sunday night at, 10 o'clock at night, um, you can make pretty good time.
Yeah, just watch out for coyotes and cactus and
Yep.
highway patrol, and you're good.
I, I did see one little baby coyote,
Oh,
um, and that's it. So that was good. Back for a couple of days, had a bunch of stuff to handle. Um, boom, boom, boom. Back on a flight this morning. Back through the desert this morning. Back on a flight this morning, and we're coming to you from beautiful Stillwater, Oklahoma, where they just got done with their really, really cold streak and snow. There's still actually snow on the ground here. Um, so it's not been really warm, but I believe it was high 30s today, supposed to be 40s tomorrow, and then drop back down into the 20s and 30s for the race this weekend, and then be
oof.
back up in the 40s next weekend. So this will be two rounds. Friday pro night, uh, Saturday pro am, the following Friday a pro night. There'll be some instructional stuff going on during the week, and then Saturday and Sunday will be AMA Amateur National Championship. Um,
Badass.
yeah, one of two places where you can get a national championship plate, Arena Cross and Loretta's. So
I'd be interested to see who had a bad Loretta's and is going to come out to try to do some arena crash, get that number 1 plate.
yeah, it's I would imagine it's going to be a huge event.
Yeah.
Um, Cobra Cobra's coming out. I've already got the confirmation there that Cobra will be on site in full factory trim to support riders. So I will not be at those races as they are Not a fan ticketed event. So, um, but it should be good. And I wish everybody safe racing and safe weekend. And I'm stoked to be heading into Kicker headquarters tomorrow morning and see the family, and then get over and get the booth set up at the infamous Lazy E Arena, the biggest indoor equine arena in the United States. And I can't wait to see what VMAC Track has. We talked about a few things um, on Guthrie for this weekend, so for the pro night. So it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with. Also, on a side note, speaking of VMAC Tracks, I'm assuming you watched some of last week's race, pro night.
Are you talking to me or the audience?
You.
I did not. I've been busy. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, I finally got my jump in the start stretch.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so I'm pretty stoked about that. You'll have to watch some of it.
Yeah. Once again, I like variety. I like mixing it up.
Yeah, it wasn't a big jump, just a little
Just
speed
something.
hump,
Yeah.
but it's something other than running the entire length of the arena
Yeah. Something to throw the
wide
guys
open
off.
and then anchoring the brakes to the right or the left. In this case, it would have been to the left. It's something to kind of change things up, and so
It's only
um,
usually so much you can do on an arena cross course that it's nice
right,
to do something.
a little bit of variety, a little bit of something different.
Now, if we can get a gator pit, that would be really cool.
If we were in Tampa, it'd probably be easy.
Yeah, they'd probably just walk in anyway.
Or Havasu.
There's gators. No, there's no gators in Havasu.
Yeah,
No.
there is one.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, no, there's. You check the news.
I
It's
think you're
true.
thinking of bluegill, but go ahead.
The news never lies.
Oh,
Ooh,
ooh, burn.
boom, bump. Anyway, dude, it has been an unbelievably active week in Dakar.
Yeah.
And so before you hit us with stats and a recap, because you're the brain, um, I want to make clear that the ghost calls or whatever their name was, I had nothing to do with you getting disqualified. I just thought it was odd in our last recording. I thought it was odd that you both came out of nowhere and were winning stages. So with that being said, Cole, now that I've stirred the pot, what do you got?
Yeah, so that 48-hour chrono stage ended up being pretty rad. The night we were recording, they were about to start it, or they had just done one day of it. But it was really cool. The guys like Ricky Brabeck, they said that they ended up liking it a lot because it was kind of the old school Dakar. I think, to be fair, that if you had big team support, and a little bit nicer accommodations, that you probably think it's a little bit more fun to spend one night out in the desert like that. But it was cool to see the riders and the drivers literally sitting around a campfire when these guys are big names in the industry, and everybody, because at the end of the day, Dakar is so magnificent, but it's such a small alumni of people that it's nice to see that there's this camaraderie, and it's really not this bitterness. It's not like you're going to have your MotoGP guys all having dinner together, or Formula One, if it's not forced. But that 48-hour chrono stage ended up being really cool. Guys were very exhausted. We kind of predicted it on the show that guys were going to try to go for an all-out sprint and get as far as they could so they would have an easier second day. The motorcycles and the lead cars were able to do that. Fortunately, the trucks and the standalone bikes, the Moto Mally class, kind of split the day in the middle. So you definitely had a long night out in the desert. They actually saw a lot of mechanical failures on the second part of the chrono stage, which unfortunately we saw our American Mason Klein go out of. He was having issues throughout the week, and he ended up blowing the motor up And in his class, because he is in the premier class, you are not allowed to continue. Where if you were in Malimoto or Rally 2, something like that, you'd be able to continue on. It sounded like even Mason himself was surprised at that news. So that was definitely heartbreaking. Selfishly, I'm hoping that either that team, the Cove Moto team, can step up a little bit next year with either budget or time frame, getting him some equipment, or maybe another big team sees Mason and sees his value again. And like I said, that's selfish. That's my selfish take from what happened. But Mason had a great attitude about it and was still supporting his fellow teammates and everybody. But yeah, fast forwarding today, we just finished stage 10, and we had some kind of fun history be made. Did you see anything online about this, Lauren?
I did. I did. My good friend Sarah Price and your good friend Ricky Brabeck both won stage 10. And as it works out, they happen to be boyfriend and girlfriend.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that fun?
That's so rad.
They said, I
Yeah.
mean, it's cool enough that it's two Americans winning on the same day, but yeah, to have both boos taking home a stage win, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I thought so too, and I sent them both messages, and I did hear back from Sarah. I haven't heard back from Ricky yet, but I don't expect to because I'm not in with him like you are.
I'm not in with him, so don't worry about it.
But yeah, man, it's that was really cool, and um, I think they were saying and I don't want to split hairs up, but I think they were saying she was the first American woman to win a Dakar stage, and I would actually contest that with, I believe Sue Mead was in 2011 when she won the Dakar in her class, but in the Ford Raptor.
Yep.
But I don't want to take anything away from the fact that Sarah is the bomb, and this is her first year at Dakar.
Yeah. Yep.
And she is a privateer effort.
Yep. She's got a big SP on the side of the car. It's basically like having the Ricky Bobby thank myself for getting here because she doesn't have a lot of help. Yeah.
No, and it's stellar, and she has agreed to be on the podcast. We couldn't work the timing out before she headed for Dakar, but man, it's going to be a good one when she gets back, dude.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
And then in T1 Ultimate, I believe T1 Ultimate or Ultimate T1, Seth Quintero just continues to plug away and really show what he's made of as a racer. You keep in mind he is racing against guys that are multi-year veterans.
Yeah.
And there's people that are I have seen the chatter that he's too young to be in a T1. Well, he's been on the podium as often as he hasn't, or up in the top 5, I should say, and he has been on the podium. So I rebuke your snotty nosed comments, and would like to bloody your nose on behalf of Seth.
Yeah, I haven't seen that chatter, luckily, because that would infuriate me. But I guarantee his reflexes are a lot better than some of the guys on the big programs. I'm obviously biased, but yeah, he's a young guy in the best of ways because he can actually still see and he can be on time and he can change his own tires. So yeah, that comment kind of pisses me off. But I know you've been traveling all day today, Lauren. Did you see what happened to Seth today?
Yeah, I did, man. He had a tough finish. Looked like he launched it off a rock ledge.
Yeah, it was like a good 6-foot ledge or so.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened there because you would think it would be a hazard in the road book, but it looked like there was also other tracks that went off there. So maybe it wasn't registered as a hazard in the road
Or
book.
maybe a single exclamation mark instead of a two or a three, which is kind of how they identify, how severe it is. But I had to kind of laugh because the Dakar, the stages are so long, and there's so many racers. But I couldn't believe that the helicopter caught footage of him jumping off that ledge, and it did look like it was part of the road book. But you can see when the Hilux came down that it broke part of the front suspension. So huge shame, but it's bittersweet because he's not necessarily in contention for top three anyway. So I guess it hurts a little less considering that he's just kind of out for stage wins right now. But the dude had such big heart and such racer spirit that he got his ass out of the truck, ran to the top of the ledge, and was flagging down other racers to warn them to slow down. So
yeah, while Dennis was fixing the car.
Yeah.
And I saw that and I'm just like, wow, that is like truly the spirit of Seth, right?
Yeah, just thinking about others immediately.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I messaged his mom and I'm like, man, I love this so much, but I hate it for the boys. But really it just embodies his race attitude and to be thoughtful enough to run back. You're not going to see Petter Hansel or any of those guys do that.
No,
I don't think. I would be surprised. I'm not sure any of those guys could run as far as he did at the speed he did.
And I don't know that I would. I'd probably look at it and say, I can't climb that anyway and don't want to get run over.
Yeah, and actually in the video footage they caught of the one car from the heli, the guy anchored the brakes and it really did save him.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
So
that was amazing footage from the helicopter.
Yeah, it looked like they spent about, from what I could tell, the numbers are so jumbled from one report to another, but it looks like they potentially lost about 5 hours repairing the car. I don't know exactly. I'm just saying from what I could calculate. But I will tell you something else. After the 20-hour penalty for an engine change, the he had gone from 148th position.
That's the number I remember
overall to I believe up into the low 40s or even 30s. So, I mean, he's been back in the top 5 a couple times and he's just doing great. I mean, he's adapting and overcoming like a veteran, like the veteran racer he is.
And we talked about this a show or two ago, but I mean, he's still taking Instagram photos of his race truck like any of us hobbyists would, like, oh, good morning, beautiful, like, let's get it today. And it's exciting to see him excited.
Yep, absolutely. Love that. And on top of that, so let's jump from there to Challenger T3, I believe it is.
T3, yep. So
which is now Challenger Series, Challengers, whatever's. So with the disqualification, do you want to cover that? You want me to?
I'll do it because I'll do it a little more politically. But
thank you.
Gokshao was doing very well in the stages prior to this recording, and he was able to put quite a few minutes consistently on Mitch for those last couple of stages. But they did have a teardown by the FIA, and I'm glad that they enforced the rule, but they were disqualified due to, I believe, carbon composite transmission components, which are not legal for that class in the FIA. So obviously no clue who would have protested, no clue how this would have even come up. I mean, it could have been the last place guy, but either way, I am glad that they were thorough, that they tore down the car, and that they stuck to it, and that there was no biasy, because it is, and we talk about all the time on the show, it's very easy to feel wronged as an American. So if that would have gone
Yep.
swept under the rug, like I would have been livid. So uh, obviously not looking to hurt anybody's feelings necessarily or wish bad on anybody, but I'm very glad that it was enforced with an international racer, and especially because realistically, Mitch has been driving his ass off, and now all of a sudden, look at the results. Now that car, the Gokshao car has been disqualified, Mitch is leading by about 7-8 minutes. So it just goes to show that that it was an equipment issue, not a driver issue. So
Right. And I'm gonna try and be good, I promise. But just to cover a couple of things on this, I think we talked about it last episode, actually, just how much faster they were. Like literally, I'm not saying they don't have experience or they're not good drivers or anything like that. I'm just saying for a brand new team in the class and a brand new vehicle to come out and be reliably that much faster was suspicious. And I wouldn't be surprised if the governing body said, this is weird, and ordered the teardown themselves.
I'd be okay with it. I mean, it's why we have a rule book.
Because nobody has said that they were protested.
No, but maybe it is anonymous. I mean, I really don't know.
You would think, though, that like most of them are like, oh, this was done because of a protest issued by a team or whatever.
Yeah.
So maybe it was the governing body, raising an eyebrow. Maybe they're waking up. Who knows? But
And the
ultimately,
team. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, ultimately, they had illegal parts in the car.
Yeah.
In the report that I read by the governing body, it was reported that the vehicle had been sealed, inspected, and sealed. And when they re-inspected it, they found illegal parts not conforming to the rules in the form of illegal clutch and transmission components.
See, that's dirty. If that's some dirty laundry. If that's actually what happened.
That's what the report said. If you read it, it says that it had been sealed by the sanctioning body, and when it was torn down, it had different parts in it.
It was not this interesting. Yeah, that gives me something to chew on a little bit too, because people make honest mistakes, right? And they might have thought that they had some hot part, but yeah, if it was sealed and then changed, that's pretty evident that you're up to some, as the kids would say, some sus activity.
Well, yeah, and you would think that that's just based on the report that I read that the governing body posted on Instagram in their reports of findings. However, the other side of that coin is if the governing body inspected it and sealed it with the components that were in there being illegal, shame on them.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that would, dude, you would have an uprising by the racers and by the teams if that's the case.
But you would consider that would not be the case because of the way, like, Gazcow, what is it?
I think it's Gokshao.
Gokshao said that they considered appealing, but the race would be over by the time the appeal was heard. And I'm like, well, maybe not, So the curious factor, I mean, the two positives is, by the way I read it, they got caught cheating and blatantly cheating. And if that's the case, shame on them, and they deserve to be disqualified. The other positive is it has put Mitch Guthrie Jr. in the lead of the challenger class overall, and he has since blasted a couple of stage wins um, by minutes, which was suspicious that he wasn't getting them early on, but maybe that was his plan. Um, you know, although knowing Mitchie, I mean, we just had him on here. He definitely likes stage wins, right?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think, of course, Dakar's a game, but there's no easier way to win the game than to win the game. So,
Right.
motorcycles is a little different because you're usually leading out and having to set the trails and everything. So, yeah, kind of something to chew on for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to see that Mitch is kind of back where I feel like he belongs. Now that team, and I don't know why this sticks with me so much, but they were so adamant about saying that the part was not a performance part, the carbon clutch and transmission components, that it was a reliability thing. Now, that doesn't change the fact that it was illegal, but I don't know why I feel gullible enough to where I'm like, okay, well, maybe, yeah, I'm all good for reliability. And, uh, it's so expensive to go over there that I want to see you guys finish. But if it's cut and dry that those parts are illegal and Mitch's OT3 didn't have them, then there you go.
Well, that and also in that post by the sanctioning body, um, they did post the rules, and the rules state that you must have an OEM transmission and clutch assembly that comes in essence comes with the engine.
Interesting. Okay.
So you can't have a custom built transmission on whatever your Volkswagen engine or whatever engine you're running. Um,
Hmm.
you have to use a Volkswagen engine or transaxle or whatever.
I'm okay with that. Try to, for the love of God, keep the cost down somewhere a little bit.
Sure, right. Yeah. Yeah. So, there's a lot of drama. The other factor that I think of, the racer in me is like, okay, well, they're DQ'd. Um, so are their earlier results going to get stricken from the records?
Yeah, I don't know. Do those medals go to second
May-
place, which is now
Yeah,
first place? It'll be interesting to see how thorough they are. But we had this talk last week where maybe that stuff just kind of goes away, right? Where they don't want to look bad and
right.
physically take medals away, and the videos are already, yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and they're
Something
they
to
are
think about.
taking a lot of heat for the decision that they made um, on other, uh, on the what is it, Goscow,
Yeah, Gok Chow.
Gokchow. Gokchow made a post and about it, and there was a lot of support for Gokchow and against the sanctioning body. But, ultimately, the way I read what the sanctioning body posted and the rules specifically that they posted, they were cheating and they knew they were cheating. Um, so, that's
Insert
how I
Polish
read it.
joke, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right. I'll leave it alone. I'm trying to be, dude, don't give me fire. I'm trying to be like,
And you're doing so
and
good.
great job, Mitch Guthrie Jr. Mitchell Guthrie. I am so proud of you, dude. And Seth, I am so proud of you. And AJ, dude, I know. I wish we could just like give you a big old after show hug, dude. I know you're having a tough go, ups and downs. It seems like
Yeah.
you're up there third, fourth, and then 10th, and but hang in there, buddy. I texted him earlier, messaged him earlier, and was like, "You're doing great, dude. Just keep the wheels turning, hang in there, keep digging. Um, you know,
Yeah, and he
strong, fast, smart, and smooth, bro.
right
You
behind
got
Mitch today
this."
in results. So
Yeah,
I would say today
yeah.
was a good
So
day. I know he wants stage wins, but seventh ain't bad. I'd take seventh all day. But yeah, ups and downs, and he's had a really good attitude about it.
He really has, and it's got to be tough, internally for him because he is a two-time Dakar winner
Yeah, he knows what it takes and how to get it done.
for sure. But that being said, in the I don't know about the SSV class, formerly T4, but in the T3, now Challenger class, the bar has been raised.
Yeah, lot of drivers from other disciplines joining T3. Like I know that one guy was a drift champion, and there's quite a few rally guys. Um, so it's interest. So I mean, to be realistic, it's the most economical cage class you can get in. So it makes a lot of sense.
Sure, sure, yeah. And but it makes for good competition, right? And now you know, maybe the Red Bull Factory South Racing Can-Am off-road team um, needs to go back to the drawing board a little bit and work on their program. I mean, they've been slaying it. They've been the kings for, 2 or 3 years now.
Yep.
Um, and now there's, the Taurus MCE 5 of Guthrie.
Wow. It's a lot of letters and
Yeah,
numbers, that's for sure, between
right.
OT3 and the MC5, and he's
Yeah,
MG5, and yeah,
I think OT3 still has a car in the field too, or two. And then the one that Gotchows, Kachows were running.
ciao.
Um, that was a whole nother brand. That was a Landia backed or something. Um, and so um, there's more brands. Polaris has a factory team running over there, a semi factory team running over there. Um, in the T3 class. And I think they actually won a stage at one point. I can't remember who's driving for them, but it's a big name. Um, so that T3 or Challenger class has the bar has been raised for sure.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, it wasn't
harder
wasn't
to
that long
win.
ago when nothing to take away from his win. You got to be in it to win it, but there wasn't that many competitive cars in the class when Casey Curry won. And like I said, it's not taking anything away from Casey. Nobody
No,
else showed up to play, and he did.
right.
Now the results are really quite deep.
Yes, absolutely. And then pushing on to because we're taking so long, I'm taking so long on this. I'm sorry. Originally, folks, I told Cole to have his stats ready and he was just going to blast through it. Because I really haven't had a ton of time to get caught up on it. But then Cole give us this last week in that would be rounds, 8, 9, and 10, 7, 8, 9, and 10 in the SSV class, formerly T4, which is basically production side by side, if you will, in quotations.
Yeah, so the class is definitely a little bit smaller, but Sarah Price has been killing it as of this recording right now after stage 10. She is in second place, which is incredible, especially after her stage win, and she's only 7 minutes behind. And she is behind Xavier de Sautre. And if you remember that name, he was factory Yamaha racer on bikes for a long time. So he's got a lot of experience in Dakar and no experience in a car. And she's got a ton of experience in a car, and it's her first Dakar. So it's really interesting to see the two kind of play cat and mouse because she can wheel, and then he knows his way around the Saudi Arabian desert. So it's really interesting. And it got me kind of fired up today. And I'm sorry that we're going down this road really quick, but they said, okay, so she's only 7 minutes behind, but keep in mind she's a rookie. And I kind of took that as a
Oh,
little raw because because literally in today's broadcast, and I'm trying not to be conspiracy theory anti-American when it comes to how they do their production, but they said
but they are.
the
I mean,
American Ricky Brabeck is leading, but keep in mind he has two stages to go. Then they show T1 with Sebastian Loeb wins and they say, yay, he's God's gift to Dakar. Then they go to T3 and they say, Mitch Guthrie's leading, but remember, 2 stages to go. And then they say, Sarah Price is in second, but remember, she's a rookie. So I don't know. It felt kind of disrespectful. It had almost been like, it almost felt like, but remember, shit can go sideways. And just kind of bugged me today on today's broadcast.
Yeah, I have not seen it. Um, but that would bother me. That would sit bad with me
And to be
because
fair,
I
like I'm
already,
hypersensitive about it because the Americans, but they didn't say it for anybody else or the trucks
yeah,
class or
no, I am ultra hypersensitive about it because when Mitch Guthrie is leading the class and Seth Quintero holds the record for the most stage wins ever, and AJ Jones is the only American to win 2 Dakars, and Sarah Price is winning stages as a rookie, and they get 27 seconds of coverage, and someone like, I'm not going to say her name, Mitch Guthrie Jr.'s teammate, who's basically every video I have seen, she's just following Mitch.
she's hanging
And
on.
yeah,
She's following.
and she's getting 4 minutes of coverage for running in second place
Yeah.
because she's following the champ. She's following the American. No mention about him leading the way. Oh, and he already had his 20 seconds of fame. We said right off the get go, oh, he won the stage. But so and so did this, and
Yeah.
so and so had a stellar day and ran hard all day. Unfortunately, at the end, they had to change a tire, and we have to show them changing every lug nut and panning to the camera and la and 5 minutes. And but they finished 16th. I'm
It gets
like,
old quick.
yeah, it
Why
just
did we
wears
bring
on
this
me.
up? Yeah.
I don't know. It just wears on me. I'm not a hater. I love the racing. I think it's a great format. Um, I just think that for the life of Dakar, it has been swayed anti-American, and I keep hoping. These guys are forcing them to talk about them,
For sure.
and the more of us, the more of us North Americans that jump on it and help promote it and help promote, our guys, our peeps that are winning, and doing well, the more they have to recognize it because it's going to continue to grow their audience. And I guarantee you, they're looking at their stats internationally and they're all of a sudden going, whoa, we're seeing a whole bunch of people from Mission Viejo, California, or whatever.
No, absolutely. They're a business, right? They're not in
Yep.
it to not have anybody watch. So if we get more eyeballs and more attention and more social media from our neck of the woods, it definitely does not hurt.
Yep. Absolutely. Um, yeah, man, what a crazy week. So here we are. We're back on the road. Um, and welcome. I'm glad to have you all along for the ride. Um, it's been a crazy ride this week. I got home at shortly after 12 in the morning Monday and left the house about 7 o'clock this morning. So,
Back at it.
um,
Oof.
yeah, but I'm grateful to be here in Stillwater, home of Kicker World headquarters, and to be racing the next 2 weeks in Kicker's home turf. Check out the schedule. If you're in the area, get out, watch a race, throw me a message, or swing by the booth. Um, we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a big deal. Going to be a good time, man. Going to be a really good time. So, with that being said, I want to wish a very special belated happy birthday because we didn't record on the day of his birthday. Um, to my good friend Healy, he is a extreme listener to the point where he has the intro of episode 47 as my ringtone on his phone.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, super rad. And if you haven't heard 47, go back and listen because Cole produced it. Cole recorded the whole thing, put it all together, and did it the whole thing without even my knowledge. He pirated the whole show. Um, and it's super rad. I listen to it probably at least once a month. So, uh, very, very grateful for all that. Grateful for our partners, Kicker Performance Audio, for all your 12-volt personal audio needs. Hit them up, kicker.com, or on Insta at Kicker Audio. Also, find them on Facebook every other Tuesday on Kicker Unmasked Live. And that's also broadcast the same time live on their Facebook. Of course, Bomber Eyewear, Bomber Floating Eyewear, Bomber Safety Eyewear. Man, Tommy and his gang just had this goal to be the blue jeans of sunglasses. They're reasonably priced. They last forever. You should own 10 pairs or 18 like I do. You can get them in prescription. You can get them in safety lens. You can get them in polarized. You can get them in mirrored. You can get them in amber, of
Yellow.
which I have pretty much everything I just listed. And I also have 2 pairs of prescription polarized safety lenses that are polarized. Did I say polarized? They're polarized. Anyways, and they float.
Sure
So
do.
hit them. Yeah, and they're stylish. Hit
Sure
them
are.
up on Instagram at Kicker Audio and on the web at Kick.
On the web.
I fucked that up.
It's okay.
Hit them up on Instagram at Bomber Eyewear or on the web at bombereyewear.com. Of course, Cole with the Premix podcast. Dude, don't know where I'd be without you. So grateful. And I know he's got some desert racing stuff lined up to do this year and some announcing work. So if you need an announcer, you need an MC for your party or whatever, um, or you need desert pictures of your race car. Are you doing King of the Hammers?
No.
Okay.
I
So
wish.
no, huh?
I said I wish, but no,
Uh,
not this year.
uh, I was going to say, all right. So he's out for King of the Hammers, but there'll be some desert races. Slide into his DMs on Instagram at the Premix Podcast. That's the at symbol ThePremixPodcast.
Nailed it.
And yeah, send him a message and get him lined out, get some pictures of your race rig, find out where he's going to be. Of course, Kelsey Morel Film, she has been just shredding it, dude. In
A lot
in
of
our
work.
group message, holy cow! Have you seen how busy she's been?
Yeah, that can't be understated. I am grateful and I do not envy all the stuff you've had to do.
Yeah, great job. If you need video work, video editing, photo work, even music editing, hit her up on Instagram at Kelsey Morel Film. Of course, Hey Keeks Marketing, working on all of our social media templates, our logos, working with Kelsey Morel Film on our video templates and getting everything refreshed and up to date for the after show. Um, and man, it's looking good. We're actually working on some new stuff.
Ooh,
Hey Keeks and I are for the after show.
Oh,
which we'll have out here soon. Um, man, but no matter what you need, whether it's just social media templates or website help or website built, you need anything on social media, all the way up to full blown influencer campaigns. Hit her up on Instagram, Hey Keeks Marketing, on the web at heykeeks.com. Dude, parting statements.
parting statements. Speaking of King of the Hammers, good luck to friend of the show, Cooper Abbott, for this weekend as King of the Motos.
Yeah, that's this weekend already.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Party starts here in like
Goodness.
2 days.
I know they got the on top of that, they sometime this week, I believe, maybe this come next weekend. I'm not sure. They'll have the Totally Lit Pit Crew competition, sponsored by Buggy Whips Inc. and our good friend Chuck over at Pro Eagle. Um, Speaking of Pro Eagle, Rob McDonald, thanks for your input on the Chuck Foreman episode. I agree. The dude is understated, incredibly talented, brilliant person. Grateful to call him friend and be able to have him on as a guest. And I want to just say again a special thank you to all of our U.S. service people all around the world and all of our first responders. Thank you for all you do. And man, do the speech.
Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Now do it like Max Headroom.
Who?
What?
Who'd you say?
You don't, you don't know who Max Headroom is?
No.
Oh, you're such a millennial.
I'm not going to lie about it. I don't know.
All right, Google it later.
Okay.
Um, yeah, man. So what am I forgetting?
I don't know. I just ground the show to a screeching halt, I guess. So
Yeah, well, that was cool. All right, do the speech. We'll start from there.
make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on your favorite streaming platform.
Yeah, right on. Special thanks to the Podfather for a little advice this week and a nice combo um, to do with our situation back in December. Really appreciate Mr. Jim Beaver, the Podfather. Thank you for your advice. It's invaluable and your support. And dude, we're just gonna keep episode 115 is yours.
Get
With
ready.
that, folks. Yeah, for sure. With that, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, all our loyal listeners. Um, we appreciate every single one of you. Be sure and share us out to your friends. Have some fun. Let's talk about something. Hit us up. Slide into our Instagram at AFTR_podcast and hit us up with suggestions for topics. Maybe we get enough suggestions. Maybe we'll just do a show that's topic about topics.
Yeah, maybe an open forum show. We'll figure it out. We'll keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Keep it active.
Yeah, for sure. We'll keep it pew, 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 going. So, with that, man, Cole, thank you so much. Appreciate you, little brother. And God bless our troops. God bless America. Mad Dog out.